Talking planning here, looking at the course of a week, especially as it pertains to a holistic athlete development strategy. So when we think about holistic, it's really important for us not look at just one area of performance of development, but to see how everything interacts and works together. So we've created a very simple template here. We'll just call it our tactical week modeling template. And basically what that allows us to do is to identify what's the most important thing for the week, and then to make sure that all of our other areas that are around the organization support that goal. So in this case, you'll see here, and this is a pure example here. We can put some different colors in here. And let's just start from scratch here. Whenever we're thinking about an in-season tactical approach, the most important thing is to think about your game day. What is the end goal? We'll call that our game day. That's the day where we have to make sure that we're ready. And then the first thing that we will do after we put our dates and specific things in here is to just count backwards to model out what's happening. Okay, so we'll use the term game day -1 to refer to the day right before the game day -2, game day -3, game day -4. Okay, so these areas here are the days leading into competition. Now, let's say this is week 3, week 4, week 5, and I have had a competition the Saturday prior here. I could have game day +1, game day +2 as well. Okay, and those are slightly different than the game day minus days, because it may be a little bit more focus on recovery, restoration, getting back right before we start our preparation. Now, for example purposes, I have this as just like one game day a week, but you could potentially have multiple game days in here, and you would just tag it from an event code or color code accordingly. So if I had 2 competitions, this could be game day +1 or game day -3. This could be game day -1 as well. Purely up to you and what your targets and goals are. Okay, so let's just we got a game day minuses, and game day pluses. And then I can strategically start to assign what we're going to be doing that week. So let's put it here. Let's just say, the game day +1 will come in, we'll get some little recovery in. Maybe this day is a yellow day. Maybe this day for us could be a work day. This day, maybe a work day. This day, a light day. This day, maybe you're ramping up, getting ready for competition. You could do this anyway. You could flip these days. Maybe your off day is game day +2. Maybe your off day is game day +1. Maybe you don't have 2 red days. Maybe it's later in the season and you have 2 orange days or a couple more yellow days. Completely up to you, but basically this heat map, this color coding system allows us to look at things from what's the overall loading, what's the overall goal? Is today a heavy day? Is today a light day? Basically a high-low split. Okay, so then in here, what we can start to do is to work toward maybe what we're working on that day. If I'm a field sport, maybe it's as simple as just putting recovery. Maybe this is speed day. Maybe this is change of direction or distance. Maybe this is a mental day. Maybe this is a prep day. And this is, realizing all the work that we put in. Here, I can put my practice periods. Let's say that's our off day. So 0. Maybe this is like a 10 period. Maybe this is a 12 period, 12 period. Maybe this is 8. Come in here. 4 quarters. Okay. Now with equipment, if you're an equipment extensive sport like football, maybe you have helmets, shells, uppers, lowers. If you're not an equipment intensive sport, maybe that's better way to say it. Maybe this is location, different types of gyms, different locations. Here's the weather. Now, when I get to this section here, what this allows us to do is to take notes. So we like to think about total duration in minutes as the simplest form of evaluating volume. So if I have on my green day, maybe it's just a little 45-minute day on this day, or maybe actually the green day is 0. This is a 45. Maybe this is 2-hour practice. Maybe this is 100 minutes. This one back to 45, 60. And, this one could be as long as 180. But But basically what this is allowing us to do is to evaluate volume from a minute perspective. If you used a form of wearables or like a Catapult GPS unit, you could assign workload here. So maybe that's at 120. These are very much just example values here, and you could just take that accordingly. Now, next one, average max velocity, would be the same thing. Maybe you are interested in taking the average max velocity of your entire team over a specific day. What that allows you to do is to assess or audit, does your speed day match? Okay, so if I'm focusing on speed this day, you would think that the majority of my team would be traveling a little bit quicker in open space. So maybe this average team max velocity would be a little bit higher. What these values down here allow me to do is assess if I'm hitting my target goal. Okay, same thing here, maybe on your change of direction day, maybe a little bit less speed. You kind of see where we're going with that. Average yards over 16 miles an hour. That's pretty much just, you could change that to any types of sprint distance or high speed distance, however you want to categorize that. This example here, RPE, is athlete rating of perceived exertion, of how difficult they perceive the day to be. And then IR, how many athletes did you have on the IR today? How many were out? How many were limited? Basically, this section here in the blue is simply just an area to assess different measurables around the program to give you the chance to audit if you're matching your goal. All right, now remember, everything is about getting ready for your game day. And then we work backwards to make sure throughout the week that we're hitting different physical targets or tactical targets to put us in position to be there. But everything is all about the tactical preparation for game day. Okay, so now down here, I know what my specific goals are: recovery, installation, speed, maybe change of directions or distance, mental prep, realize. And these could be different depending on when you play and what the goals of the coaching staff are. Now what we do down here in the baby blue is start to pair things on the practice plan to get us in the position to realize the goal. So let's just take Tuesday because it's pretty simple to think about. So if I'm thinking about my focus as a speed day, then my tactical areas, things like the X's and O's, the scheme, should allow our athletes to be in an environment that they can realize top end speeds. If we're thinking a field sport, I'm looking at a large field space, long length, maybe drills. You're giving the athlete the ability to hit top end speeds. And ideally, it would be organically embedded within a tactical scheme comparable to games. So you'll get a lot of transfer. Down here with, like, let's say a football example, special teams drills that day, special teams emphasis areas should focus on things that are putting athletes at in environments that they can realize top end speeds. The technical emphasis, think about that as individual work. Same kind of thing. We're trying to pair stressors, match things to fit our goal of speed or whatever day it is and the goal it is. Down here from the physical emphasis, we already realized that it's speed. So if I had supplemental work or a lift that day, it should be targeting speed. Okay, that could also be a warm-up, a preparation, things like that. From a mental side, what are things that are relating back to the tactical emphasis of the day, in this case, speed, to make our athletes realize what we're trying to do there? Fueling and recovery. You could think about these in isolation. You could think about these things together. When we think about speed, what are things? So we know that speed, and we're just thinking about this Tuesday here, game day -4. And for example purposes only, we have assigned a speed emphasis. Well, we know speed and realizing top end speeds has a massive impact on our central nervous system. Okay, so what are things that we can do from a recovery standpoint to calm down post practice? It could be something just like a calming environment. It could be different types of fueling that allows our athletes to calm. But basically what we're trying to do is pair the recovery, pair the fueling with whatever physical and tactical direction I was heading. If I was in a situation where maybe like Wednesday, it's a distance day, we know, think about covering a ton of distance. Maybe there's an extra metabolic strain that day. So maybe we need more calories on that day. Or if a day was emphasizing contact, or we played an opponent with a ton of different a higher amount of contact, or if they were a physical opponent or a physical day, maybe we add in anti-inflammatory foods and recovery tools such as hydrotherapy, cold therapy, to allow us to minimize the inflammation. All we're trying to do, the principle here, is simply just pairing stressors together. Okay. The next one would be just an area for daily notes, some observations, and then at the end of the week, notes across the entire week. In summary, when we look at this, we'll just call this like a tactical week modeling. Remember, the most important thing is game day. We have to be prepared game day. Okay, the next thing is tactics drive everything. The tactical game model, the coach, the way that they want to play is the most important, because it drives where we can put our goals each week. And then the last thing is we need to pair everything to fit nicely together. So on certain days when a specific goal is emphasized, everything around the program should match that goal. The next day, when there's a different goal or the same goal, whatever you choose to have it, everything should align and work there. When you lay out everything on a model like this, and this is not the only way to do it, when you lay out everything on a model like this, it allows you to see every single thing in the organization and how things are working, so that you can pair things together and you can get everything to mold together to develop an athlete in a holistic manner.